The Sagittarius zodiac sign is sponsored by the element of fire. Now, when you see fire, you must just know that when the fire element is within a very strong practice of masculine, which is a very typical thing for a Sagittarius. You go look around, find a Sagittarius, and see if you see the intensity when it comes to hard work, working environment, the load they have to carry, whether it's the stuff they come from, what they're going through, work, personal. It's like Sagittarius is the kind mule who will not only carry their own stuff, but also carry the burden of many around them. But when they clash, especially where love is concerned, it can be like a Sag zodiac sign can either be a flame or it can be a flippin' bonfire. And when it's a bonfire, it's a very rebellious kind of fire. One that cannot be told what to do. One that cannot be easily provoked and mesmerized by words. Because if a Sag has a feeling, an off feeling about you, they close up. They just close up. And you can yada, 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 yada. If they close, they're closed. Done. And then when it comes to relationships, this is exactly what happens. There's either an event or something where you've just blown the fire in such a way, you've blown their ego, their masculine in such a way where they close up. In other cases, they also will challenge an idea, and they will do it in the kindest way, as if they're Canadian. They will listen to you, hear you out, but then will say, I hear you, but I just feel personally, I just feel, or they'll say something like, but did you ever think about looking at it from this perspective? Now that's in the feminine body. Where the masculine body is concerned, the Sag male either cuts themselves off completely, but they go ghost, and they go proper ghost, or especially if there's Vuma behind them, if they got a vice, then there can be very erratic spells of fire, which is very much physical as opposed to just talking. And that happens quite a bit in the Sagittarius environment in a male. But it differs. If the father was like a water sign, then the Sag boy will still be aggressive, but it will nearly be like a softer tone to the fire. If the father is like not there and not present, or the father was hyper masculine, never showed emotions, then the Sag male either overcompensates in some shape, way, or form, and it will always be through an intensity. So an obsession with something, indulgence with something, and once they have their thing, they have their thing, especially when it comes to the younger version of any human being. When it comes to Sag, they want to travel, they want to see things. So going out, being in different spaces, friendships is very important. And then, like I said, when the father relationship is not 100%, they overcompensate, meaning that the bravado has to do double time because they've not been kind of like cared for in their ego, then masculine by the father who should have initially looked after the fire. And if the father don't look after the fire, a fire run wild. And so I hold a lot of compassion in the wild behavior, emotional behavior, in a lot of Sagittarius men. In a passive way, you notice it, where they give too much and they hold the burden of many quietly, therefore not having a great relationship with like crying or talking or opening up. Or on the flip side of just erratic behavior, still not opening up to anyone, but like there's just an outward expression of something not 100%. Either way, Sag is intense sign, a fire sign. So it will always be in a very drastic way, but it's always in accordance, like the lesson is in accordance to your ego. So how severe you experience whatever you're experiencing under this zodiac sign, the law is, if you don't like listen to your whole as opposed to just your mind, and if you react out of defense and protection in whatever actions you're doing, not letting things go, not maybe forgiving, or being very stubborn when it comes to, opening up or allowing advice, whatever the case may be, then, or listening, which is also a key thing, then then the universe kind of has to put together a concoction that's gonna equal your ego. And that's why a lot of you can go through like drastic changes, like suddenly you have a child, Sagittarius man, or suddenly there's a loss of a loved one and life changes completely, or there's a health concern that really shakes you to your bones. But it leaves enough time for you to do something about it, slow down, and then just, tame the fire. Don't allow the fire to be passive, but also don't allow the fire to be wild. I've learned through the many people that I've done readings with, you can feel the Sagittarius from a mile away, just by the way. The Sagittarius zodiac sign feels like a fireplace in my stomach, like yellow and then warm, very warm. But I can always tell what type of fire this Sagittarius is. Is it one that is overcompensating? So therefore you don't actually know how to tend for your own fire. So it's like a person sitting around a fireplace and throwing a lot of fire and wood, rather, a lot of wood into the fire, and not taking it steady, worrying about, is that enough, must I get more? And there's never that balance between wood and just knowing when to add. And then in equal measure, there's also the fire that's hardly there. There's hardly any yellow, so the warmth has disappeared. That's where the alienation and the quietness kind of kicks in. And this essentially is just the solar plexus, which is a very profound chakra that associates with all the fire signs. It relates to how important like serotonin is to you guys in your well-being, especially considering if Sagittarius is a strong placement in a stellium form, especially in this case, we're talking about how the masculine in Sag can be very, very blatant, very violent, very erratic, and very rebellious. Same thing when it comes to spirituality. You can be raised in a Hindu home, follow mom, dad, proper Hindu, and then if there's a Sag girl, especially, don't be surprised if she want to do something else. She want to become an atheist, or she want her own eat, pray, love, destination to faith. So there's naturally always going to be a flame, a fire that burns for you. But you got to learn that lesson. It burns for you, therefore you have to tend it. So you can learn what you learn about the different kind of fires that your mom, your dad, and the people that you meet, especially as a Sagittarius, you're going to notice that you meet those Pisces, you're going to meet the Aquarius, you're going to connect to those, there's another sign, Capricorns. So, no, not Capricorn. There's another sign. I forgot what it is. But you're going to notice these themes where fire signs are concerned, connecting to a Leo and fellow, fire signs. And it's important to not be influenced by other people's flames, either in exaggerated form or in a enclosed form, where you don't see it and then you think that's your identity. Either way, you got to learn your own pace, which is why Sag wants to travel. You want to learn from different environments and not take things personal or hold on to stuff. When you learn this with why the zodiac sign chose you, or you chose it as a soul, you start working in the right care for your flame, as opposed to a flame that ends up burning you, especially where health concerns are especially where health is a concern, mental health specifically, before physical health. mental health will start taking place, and then in equal measure the physical health, especially where the gut is concerned, fluctuation in weight, fluctuation in eating patterns, poor sleep, all that. But geez, the flip side of this Sagittarius zodiac sign being cared for, you guys are like, people will know when you're not there in the office. People will know when you haven't called them for a while because there's a warmth that will be missing. You will radiate. Your skin will feel good. If you stay well hydrated, you will feel exceptionally light. And if there's things to do that feed you in a gentle way, that fire, your flame never becomes a bonfire in reaction. And you also allow a pace, steadiness. Don't rush into anything because fire can fall very quickly. And once that community and an ecosystem of receive and let go and let go and receive takes place, opening yourself emotionally, closing yourself, but it's a flow in and out, nothing in one-sidedness. You get more out of this Sagittarius placement, especially where dreams are concerned. That's just my intuitive, I always like looking at the intuitive stuff. I don't worry about the other facets of life. I just like seeing, ooh, Sagittarius, dreams. Ooh, this is profound. And empathic connection to just reading people for filth, being able to connect with their eyes. You know how you look like looking at the eyes, Sagittarius. Look in the eyes and then you feel, and then you read everything. You can sense everything. Now imagine you have that not only for yourself, but also for the people around you, and you will always know outside of needing validation. And that's the Sagittarius energy. It can move very well if grounded and not excited, which is why I tell you guys about the sugar, the chocolate. I make emphasis of the carbs and the potato chips and the late night eating because and the coffee, all of it excites your system. You must not have anything exciting, which sounds dull, but because you are a fire element, you're already hot. You mustn't make it worse. And certain facets of life excite the zodiac sign that you're in. You just want to navigate that as opposed to become a default for it and then start asking, why me? Why does these things happen? Blah, blah, blah. You got to navigate it outside of the emotional feeling of stuff and then play in the wisdom of your zodiac sign. I hope that makes sense.